if it's Monday night, oh yes, it's the Wrestling Forum. Hello, friends. It's ridiculously over. Anthony Florio once again sitting in for the Hardcore Python Derek Ferrera as he continues his leave of absence because of the sportsblog.com commitments, and rightly so. Wildly popular sportsblog.com, oh, by the way. So I am joined, as always, by the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher, and my partner in crime in the Yes Movement, and our resident phenom, Michael Bullock. Oh, my goodness gracious, guys. I mean, we thought Battleground was something last night. Oh, Monday Night Raw tonight. This was not a back to reality show. Oh, no. The fireworks kept on coming. Oh, yeah. You thought it was hot in St. Louis? Well, it was even hotter in Kansas City here tonight, which is where Monday Night Raw was live from. It was live from the Sprint Center in Kansas City, Missouri. And boy, howdy, we had ourselves, like Bon Jovi once famously said, Michael Fletcher, and I know you'll love this, one wild night. Yeah, we had one wild night indeed here tonight. And, well, believe it or not, when it comes to this opening segment, we're going to do something a little bit different here tonight, believe it or not. I'll get into that in just a moment. I got to set it up first, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to set it up, first off. What a way to, you can't start off on Monday Night Raw any better than with an appearance, a rare appearance, from the Phenom himself, The Undertaker. That's right, The Undertaker. He was there. I knew about this in advance because, you know, on the USA Network, about 10 or 15 minutes before Monday Night Raw starts, they cut to a live shot of the arena, and they have Michael Cole basically set the table for the show tonight. In it, he first promoted the six-man tag team main event, which we'll get into in just a short while. He also promoted The Undertaker, and he said that The Undertaker was going to kick off the show, and sure as shooting, he did. He kicked off the show tonight. Normally, as you all know, if you haven't watched the Wrestling Forum in years past, I would usually be the one that leads off. You know, Derek Ferrera, you would usually have me lead off, but you know what? Michael Bullock brought something to my attention tonight during our Raw chat, as he always does. He put in a request, and me being the man of the people that I am, and the man of good faith that I am, I'm going to honor his request. He wanted to lead off on this opening segment, and that is exactly what we're going to do. You know why? Because when I run the show, just like Raven used to have back in the days of WCW, yeah, request granted, Fletcher, you're right. Raven in the old WCW, you know what he used to do. Two little words, and you know those two words, Raven's rules. And what did Raven's rules mean? Anything goes. Well, it's the same thing with Tony's rules or Hitman's rules on this show, because whenever I call Hitman's rules or Tony's rules, that means anything goes as well. So with that said, request is I am the man of the people. I am the man of the good faith. Michael Bullock, you wanted it. You got it. It's all yours, man. Your idol, The Undertaker. Let's get your thoughts.
All right. Thank you very much, ridiculously over Anthony Florio and the president of the Rhode Island chapter of the Yes Movement. Yes, this is the Phenom and the vice president of the Rhode Island chapter of the Yes Movement, Michael Bullock, here for another edition of the Wrestling Forum. Delighted to be here as always. And yes, you can't start off this edition of Monday Night Raw any other way than with an appearance by the dead man, the Phenom, the Undertaker, kicking off Monday Night Raw. I mean, this was just awesome. I mean, and Florio and I did have our chat, and our pre-Raw chat, and we were like, as soon as he told me, I'm like, is this true? Is The Undertaker going to kick it off? And as soon as we watched it, I'm like, yep, it's going to happen. And he comes out and basically is like, streaks are made to be, well, first off, he says that he stands as a remorseless, cold-blooded, vengeful Grim Reaper. That streaks are made to be broken, which is the truth. But Brock, you and your client, you and Paul Heyman had to continuously, week after week, month after month, had to remind everybody about your accomplishment. And now basically I say enough. You have taken what was smoldering ashes and turned it into a raging inferno, and that's why last night at Battleground it was basically you could just say it was his resurrection. And basically, you can't kill what won't die. And basically he said, our careers will now head towards new destinies, and I will challenge your mortality, and I will conquer what is yet to be conquered. And in the end, just like living things, be it man or beast, and first, and he ended it with those three famous words: "You will rest in peace." Man, I mean, I basically had chills running up and down my spine during that whole segment. And all I can say is, to me, I'm going to say this was the second best segment of the night, because there was one segment that was better. And oh boy, we're going to have some fun with this one, if you know what I mean. And Florio certainly knows where I'm going with this. And so with that being said, second best segment of the night. So with that being said, Fletcher, I give it to you.
Man, oh man alive, what a way to start Monday Night Raw tonight, guys. Hello everybody, it's Michael Fletcher. Wow. I think that's the only word I can really say about it. It's just wow. The Undertaker on Monday Night Raw. Whoever would have thought the day we would see the Dead Man make his return to Monday Night Raw? And I honestly believed, I thought we were not going to see him until SummerSlam, guys. I'm just going to be real honest. I thought they were going to protect him. I thought they were going to save him for SummerSlam. We kind of had an inkling about a Lesnar versus Taker showdown at SummerSlam. And yes, I'll let the cat out of the bag. It is confirmed. It is official. That fight is indeed going down. But still, to see Undertaker out there, and it was spine-chilling. The entrance, him coming down the ring, it's a sight to see, guys. And I know, Michael Bullock, you were lucky enough, you got to see it live in person, the famous Undertaker entrance, when he was the WWF champion for the King of the Ring. You've mentioned many times that you've been there. I was fortunate enough to see The Undertaker come out, but he was the American Badass, with the motorcycle and everything else. So I got to see him come out in that, and that was awe-inspiring. But this just had something more special, something more awesome than anything else, and it's always a treat to see the Dead Man come out, and tonight was just one of those nights that we're never going to forget, and it was awesome. I loved it. I thought the segment was a great way to start the show. I mean, had kudos to, WWE for booking something really big right at the top of the show, and to really get the fans glued in to know that, hey, at the top of the hour, the Undertaker is going to come out and he's going to explain himself for what happened at Battleground last night. Like, that was the hook, the line, and the sinker. And then, you didn't need to do anything more. Just hear the gong, turn the lights out, let the fans get their camera phones out, the flames, the thunder, the lightning, the setting, the mood, and there's really nothing more you can do. That turned out to be, the entrance is always the greatest 5 minutes of your life. And then just for Taker to talk and just explain why he did what he did. His anger, his, the vengeance he has in his mind, because he's been he has locked this away inside of him for at least almost a year and a half now, since WrestleMania 30. To know that he's been waiting for this moment, waiting for this opportunity, waiting for a chance to get his hands on Brock Lesnar, because of the fact that Brock is the one in 22-1 at WrestleMania. And the thing is, it wasn't Brock Lesnar that was beating this thing like a dead horse. It was Paul Heyman. and Heyman was repeatedly, saying about how Lesnar was the conqueror, how he defeated the streak, how he took the streak down, the way he took the streak down, shocking the fans, shocking the WWE Universe, shocking the IWC, and everything that just welded up. And the thing was, he kind of, for a long time, Lesnar and Heyman never brought it up until fairly recently. And that's why, in the back of my mind, think about it, guys, especially 2 weeks ago when he talked about Kane, his brother, and how he brought about the WrestleMania streak again. And maybe then we should have been thinking, huh, why is Heyman doing that? Why did Heyman call out Taker like that? We should have known. Ferrera started putting the pieces together when he did his blog, his sports blog. That there was rumors that Taker return was imminent. Then the IWC caught on to it that we heard some stuff, and then actually, a matter of fact, Taker was spotted in St. Louis the night of the event in his gear and the whole 9 yards, bringing some suitcases. So it kind of knew, like, oh man, he's back. But it's not a matter of if he's going to show up, when was he going to show up? And lo and behold, look what happened. Showed up in the main event for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, causing the fight to be a no contest. But now they have officially made the official announcement that Lesnar won the fight by disqualification, but Seth Rollins is still the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and we'll get into Rollins a little bit later on tonight because he got into a quite a situation, quite a pickle in his own right, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. But nothing bad to say. What a remarkable way to start Monday Night Raw. Anthony, it's yours.
Okay, I had a little glitch on my end, but yes. What is there to say that hasn't been said already? Second best segment of the night, indeed. The Undertaker showing up on Monday Night Raw, a rare treat. I mean, that's what you said. That's why we have DVRs nowadays, folks. I mean, it's definitely a moment you want to set your DVR for. That's exactly what I'm sure a lot of folks did tonight, seeing the Undertaker in the flesh on a Monday Night Raw. Oh yeah, we all did. But nonetheless, great to see Taker. Oh, we lost Michael Bullock for a moment, but I'm sure he'll be back in a minute or so. Okay, there he is. But nonetheless, Taker being back on Raw, definitely a welcome sight, and got the promo there, and I'm very surprised Michael Bullock didn't mention the fact that he's like he would always say, "Oh, I'm glad they went with Taker. I'm glad we didn't get a usual Authority or Seth Rollins promo to start the show." But nonetheless, we got it though. I mean, we got the Undertaker here, and it was short and sweet to the point. I mean, it didn't take 20 minutes or so like these opening promo segments usually do. It went about probably 5 to 10 minutes, and that's fine. That's not a problem. I mean, it gives them enough time to pack in as much action and entertainment as possible. So short and sweet and to the point by the Undertaker. I'm surprised he didn't mention what happened with Kane there, but thankfully that's not the reason why. That's not the storyline reason for why Taker wants to, that's why Taker wanted to go after Brock. So that's all there is to it. So you guys pretty much touched on all of that. So it's the second best segment of the night. I 100% agree with you on that. So with that said, we're just going to move on.
And before we move on, I want to make a bold statement on the match at SummerSlam between Undertaker and Lesnar. This has got the potential to be a Fight of the Year candidate. It's not going to be the Fight of the Year, but it's going to be somewhere in the top 10.
Yes. Don't worry. Well, I was kind of hoping you would have saved that for later.
I'll reiterate it again for our fans who aren't watching us. So I'll reiterate it again.
Yes. save it for the big money segment, which we're going to get into shortly. But nonetheless, we're going to move on, and we're going to move on to our first match of the night, kicking off the in-ring action. And well, this is not going to be the only time I'm going to say this tonight. It's the first of 2 times I'm going to be saying this. Gentlemen, are you ready for some hot Divas action? If you are, well, we got some right here. We had Charlotte Flair, accompanied by Paige and Becky Lynch, going up against Brie Bella, accompanied by Nikki Bella and Alicia Fox. Winner of the match in an even 9 minutes, it was once again Charlotte Flair, courtesy of the figure 8. So, good old MF, Mike Fletcher, your thoughts on the first of 2 Divas like that?
Solid fight. Very good match. A great way to start Monday Night Raw, at least in the in-ring action. Charlotte Flair and Brie Bella getting it on, and once again, Charlotte gets the figure 8 leg lock on her and gets the tap out victory. Second consecutive night for her, and definitely a proving ground fight. And we said it that the bar was raised in the Divas division. The standards that we were going to go was going to be a lot more higher than ever before. And I truly believe tonight was a really quality, good match. I can say about maybe 2 stars to maybe 2.25 is my rating for the fight. Because it got ample time. 9 minutes, actually not bad for a WWE Diva fight. Definitely well over the 5 or less than 5 minutes how they used to do back in the day. So, this was, like I said, a good TV quality match. 2 to 2.25 stars is my rating for the fight. I thought they did a tremendous job. I think there was very good storytelling. Once again, Brie Bella unleashing the educated feet a la Daniel Bryan, which got the fans to chant briefly, yes, 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 yes. You got to see Charlotte in all her glory, what she brings to the table, especially for all you NXT nuts out there. So, it was a good quality fight, but at the end of the day, you want to solidify the women's division. And how do you solidify it? By showing that the young bloods can hang with the more established divas. Right now, everybody knows the Bella Twins are the flag bearers of the division, and now, rightfully or wrongly, a lot of people don't believe they deserve it. A lot of people believe that it should be some of this younger talent, some of these younger women that are making names for themselves. And here it is tonight. We see it in full force with Charlotte getting a victory over Brie Bella. Maybe that starts to plant the seeds that maybe a change and a revolution is in fact possibly happening in WWE. So we'll wait and see what happens, but I'll tell you this. Since the big reveal or the big surprise 1 week ago tonight, since then, I really believe the Divas division has really taken off in ways that we've never ever thought it would. And tonight, not only with this fight, but we'll talk about another fight later on tonight, I think we are definitely in for what could be a dawning of a new era in not only the Divas but women's wrestling altogether. I love the direction that they're going, and this just proves our point that a change was needed, and now we're reaping the benefits. I think this was a tremendous match. 2 to 2.25 stars is my rating. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. Okay. Michael Bullock and I, our Raw chat, extended further, like it's been, doing for, a while now. And, we talked about this match. We saw this match. And you know what, Fletch? We're both going to agree with you, because this was initially the rating that we had going in. 2 to 2.25 stars for the effort. I definitely agree with that. Charlotte Flair continues her rise, and she's on her way to becoming one of the fastest rising divas in WWE history. And quite frankly, I could not be more thrilled or more happier about that, considering that I am a Charlotte Flair mark, not just for her beauty, but also for her or athletic ability.
Woo!
Amen to that, Michael Bullock. You know it. We always have to do that. But nonetheless, yes, a lot of reasons why that I'm definitely fully invested in Charlotte Flair. Like I said, not just, of course, the beauty, most obviously, and it's also the athletic ability, of course, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, her father, my man, one of my all-time idols. Everybody knows that. Well documented on this show, and they had a nice moment last night. Father and daughter had a nice little emotional moment backstage, which was caught on WWE cameras, which Michael Fletcher shared on his Facebook page late last night. And I told Michael Bullock this. Seeing that moment, it brought me back to all the way back to Starrcade 1993, after Ric Flair defeated Vader to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. They had a backstage interview moment, Ric Flair and Mean Gene Okerlund, and who was, Flair had his whole family there. I mean, he had his wife at the time, Beth Flair, and of course his oldest daughter Megan, and of course David Flair. Everybody knows the story about David Flair. Still can't believe I'm saying this, but the now late Reed Flair, who, as you know, passed away very tragically some time ago. And who else was there as a very little girl at the time? Charlotte. Yeah. She was a very little girl at the time. She was probably about 5 or 6 years old, maybe a little, younger than that. I don't know. But she was about 6, 7, maybe 8 years old at the time. She was very little. Ric Flair had that emotional moment with the family, and of course Ricky the Dragon, Steamboat, and Sting. And it goes down as one of my all-time favorite backstage interview moments of all time. And I know I know it's silly and pointless to bring up, but that moment that seeing that moment with Charlotte and Ric Flair last night, who knows? Maybe they had another moment tonight. I don't know, but nonetheless, though, it brought me back to that. And Ric Flair has got to be so proud of his little girl, man. I mean, and I would be too. I mean, she is climbing up the ranks in the Divas division in such a short period of time. I mean, 2 matches in, and so far she's 2 for 2. She gets the win last night at Battleground in that impromptu match. They added that match, to make up for, that triple threat match with Big Show, Ryback, and Miz being scrapped because of Ryback's staph infection. And, yeah, Michael Fletcher was right. He talked about reaping the benefits. You damn right we reap the benefits, Fletcher. I mean, that triple threat match, if we had gotten that match with Big Show, Ryback, and Miz, we probably would have crapped all over that thing. That thing would have been probably a train wreck and a cluster bleep, as everybody knows. But that women's triple threat we saw last night was anything but a cluster bleep, oh, by the way. And this match tonight certainly was not a typical ho-hum diva fight. And you know what? As of right now, so far so good. I mean, since this new revolution started, we haven't had any ho-hum diva fights. There was another diva fight later in the night, and I can honestly tell you right now, spoiler alert, that was also not a typical ho-hum diva fight. I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. I'm not going to go all the way and say, the days of typical ho-hum diva fights are over. No, let's not do that yet. Knock on wood right now. But so far so good. I mean, the matches have gotten vastly better. And like I also said to Michael Bullock, Charlotte Flair is rising up the ranks, one of the fastest rising divas. I think that's what they're portraying her as. And I made a bold statement on this show, here several weeks ago, and I'm going to reiterate it right here and now. If anybody is going to eventually dethrone Nikki Bella as the Divas champion, you're looking at it. Charlotte Flair is going to be the one to do it. I'm standing by it, sticking by it. That's exactly what it is. As Miles saying, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But it's not going to happen until Nikki Bella surpasses AJ Lee for the longest reign in Divas history. That's what they're going to make sure happens. And you damn sure better believe John Cena is going to make damn sure that happens. Everybody and their mother knows that story. But nonetheless, once Nikki Bella surpasses AJ's reign, and they decide to, okay, now it's time to let it go, Charlotte Flair is going to be the one that does it. Fully believe it in my heart of hearts. This girl's got it, man. You want to talk about the look? the ability, the athletic ability that goes with it, and everything else, Charlotte Flair is WWE's version of an it girl. She is the it girl of professional wrestling right now. Love her. 2 to 2.25 stars. I don't know how Michael Bullock's going to follow that, but give it a try, man.
I definitely will try, but yeah, I do agree. It was a 2 to 2.25 star match. I thought this was a fine match for what it was, and yeah, I mean, Charlotte once again gets Brie Bella to tap to the figure 8, and so far so good for Charlotte in her time on the main roster. I mean, she got the pinfall last night at Battleground in the Triple Threat match, and now she gets the win here tonight. And when Anthony Florio had our extended Raw chat tonight, and we both agreed, we thought Charlotte Flair is going to be the one to dethrone Nikki Bella and become the next Divas champion. I mean, this whole Divas revolution is definitely off to a really good start. And what we saw last night and what we saw here tonight, and this is not the last you'll see of these Divas. We'll definitely get more into it later on in the other match. So you guys pretty much touched on everything. So 2 to 2.25 stars. So with that being said, Florio, let's move on.
We're going to move on to our next match on the card here. It was a tag team match, non-title match. We had the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Primetime Players, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, going up against Los Matadores, Diego and Fernando, of course, accompanied by, of course, El Torito. And we have ourselves an upset, fellas. Winners of the match in 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Los Matadores off a distraction by the New Day. And I'm going to take this one. I'm going to give it between 1 to 1.5 stars for the effort. You know, short match, distraction, clunky finish there. But you know what? I thought the action was fine. I thought it was solid for what it was. And, Primetime Players losing to Los Matadores. I mean, I don't care if they have the distraction excuse. That is not a positive, and that is not okay, if I'm being honest with you. Losing to this comedy tag team. And could it mean WWE might be in the process of setting up some sort of multi-tag team match, or as they like to call it, a get all the tag teams on the show match for SummerSlam? It is certainly looking like a possibility right about now. So we'll have to wait and see what the direction is for the tag team division going up, for the tag team titles going into SummerSlam. I think they definitely have something in store. We just don't know what that is. Would I be surprised if they have some sort of multi-tag team or get all the tag teams on the show match at SummerSlam? No, I wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't. The SummerSlam, as everybody knows, one of the 4 biggest shows of the year. And to me, on my scorecard, I consider it the 4th biggest event of the year. That's just how I feel about it. Because, of course, everybody knows Mania is always going to be number 1. Royal Rumble would most likely be number 2, because it is the kickstart on the road to WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble match. Then I would have Survivor Series because of course, the traditional Survivor Series elimination matches and the illustrious history of that. And SummerSlam is, basically, Summer's version of WrestleMania. That's all there is to it. So, just like they do at WrestleMania, they want to have some sort of match to get all the talents, on the card, make sure they get a payday. That's basically I think that's what is going to happen come SummerSlam at the Barclays. So, it's a 1 to 1.5 star fight. Solid action, but there was a clunky finish, and we'll just have to wait and see where it goes with the tag team divisions. So, with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this tag match?
Yeah, I do agree. It was a 1 to 1.5 star match. I mean, the match was fine for what it was. I mean, even though we did get that little bit of a clunky finish with the New Day basically interfering with of course distracting the Primetime Players, and Yeah, and the Los Matadors get the win, and yeah, and I do agree with you, Florio. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some kind of like multi-tag team match of some kind at SummerSlam for the WWE tag team titles, but we'll just have to wait and see as we are about 5 weeks away from SummerSlam. So really got nothing else to say except 1 to 1.5 stars. Fletcher, I give it to you.
I gotta say 1 star, guys. I mean, it was there. It was for what it was worth. I'm not gonna really waste too much time on this fight because there's so many good segments here for tonight's Monday Night Raw. So let's not waste too much time on the clunky ones. Let's go more detailed on the good stuff, though. Floyer, move on.
And we're going to have a return here tonight on the Wrestling School. Because Michael Bullock has a camera feature, and tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to mark the return of something that we all know and love here on the Wrestling Forum, something we haven't seen in a while because of his new setup. The return of the Michael Bullock I Can't Take It face, because he has to lead off the next matchup here, which was The Miz going one-on-one with The Big Show. And there it is. The I Can't Take It face is back in all its glory, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
There it is.
yes,
We've waited for this.
yes.
Michael Bullock wasn't aware. Michael Bullock was not aware that he had a camera feature on his iPad, which is how he broadcasts here on the show after an unfortunate incident with his laptop some time ago. But nonetheless, he has to lead off, unfortunately, on this. It is The Miz against The Big Show, and the winner of the match in a whopping 1 minute and 25 seconds. It was The Big Show. Michael Bullock, save us a trip and just tell us how you really feel about this god-awful fight.
Yeah. Well, first off, as soon as I found out about it, when I had the camera thing on my iPad, all I had to do was unlock it, and as soon as I told Flora this, I'm like, yep, he's gonna get to see it. And Fletch, I know you were looking forward to it, and now you got your wish, my man. You got the Michael Bullock I Can't Take It face, and it's back. So I know you got a great joy out of that, Fletch. And same to you, Florio. And yeah, absolute dud, worst fight of the night. I mean, I'm not gonna waste any more time on this shit fest. Fletcher, it's yours.
Dud, worst fight of the night, no doubt about it. There's nothing more to say. Florio, go.
I'll make it unanimous. This was indeed an absolute dud. This was the worst fight of the night. Before I move on, I just want to read Jason Powell's review, our good friend from ProWrestling.net. He was saying, that was unimaginative. That said, I hope Big Show destroys everyone at Tough Enough and they cancel that god-awful show. Unfortunately, I just assume Show will be in nice guy mode at Tough Enough and completely contradict what he teased in this segment. So, yeah. But nonetheless, though, it was an absolute dud, and I got this bad feeling that, since we didn't get this triple threat at Battleground, I got this feeling Ryback's probably going to be, ready to go in time for SummerSlam. I got this bad feeling we're going to get this at SummerSlam, guys. That's just my guess. So, we'll have to wait and see. But for right now, this was an absolute dud. This was the worst fight of the night. There's really nothing left to say here, except that if you do watch Tough Enough, Big Show will be on that tomorrow night, as well as Natalya. So that should be an interesting show tomorrow night. So with that said, let's move on. And, well. Gentlemen, are we ready for...
oh, yeah.
For what? Oh, my. Well, I know Michael Bullock wishes he could lead off on this, but he wanted to lead off on Undertaker showing up at the start.
I'm more than happy to let Fletcher lead off on this one.
Yes. Good old MF Mike Fletcher will indeed get to lead off on this. I mean, why not? Because 3 words best describe this segment we're about to talk about. Be a man. You want to talk about a be a man fight and everything else? Well, let's set it up. It starts with a promo by by Brock Lesnar's advocate, Paul Heyman. One thing leads to another. You hear the gong, the lights go out. Of course, it's The Undertaker. There's The Undertaker in the ring, intimidating Paul Heyman. Heyman looks like he's ready to crap himself, piss himself, whatever. And then you hear that, yeah, you knew Brock Lesnar was going to be there. There's Brock Lesnar, full-on beeline to the ring, and fellas, it was on. There is nothing left to say. Good old MF, it's all yours.
It was time to play the feud. It was a brawl of epic proportions. This is how you build the main event to SummerSlam. Holy crap, what a segment this was. It started out with Paul Heyman, basically saying, look, this is what happened about 1 week. He talked about, what happened last night. He talked about how Seth Rollins didn't do any damage to him, how Seth Rollins didn't, beat Brock Lesnar, that it was The Undertaker that stuck his nose where it didn't belong. And why? Because he has this personal vendetta about Brock Lesnar because of Lesnar beating the streak, being the one to end the streak at WrestleMania. And he basically went to town on him and said, you know what? Fine with us. You know what? We're gonna get everything about this because my guy, the Conqueror of Conquerors, is gonna beat The Undertaker at SummerSlam, and there's not a thing that you're gonna do about it, Taker. Well, Taker comes up, he shows up in the ring, and you heard him say, "Oh my God, please, I'm just an advocate. I'm just, I'm not Brock Lesnar. Oh my God, please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me." The minute Lesnar's music hit, the crowd went nuts because they knew what was about to go down. The brawl was on. They started throwing punches, everything else. Triple H shows up yelling, saying, get out here, quick, hurry, come on, get out here." First off, you get these security dudes all in like black shirts and whatnot. They couldn't stop these two from brawling. So Triple H again yelling from the back, trying to get everybody out. And remember, he knew this was probably going to happen. So him and Stephanie McMahon both went into the entire male locker room and told them, hey, if something should go down, you are to go down there and break this up immediately. We're not telling you, we're demanding it. We want our main event for SummerSlam to be protected at all costs. So sure enough, they went at it. They started brawling. The whole locker room cleared out. And the thing was, for a time, they couldn't stop these two from getting at each other. I think they actually physically started throwing fisticuffs, I think about 5 times. I counted 5 or 6 times between inside the ring and even out in the back. And then it finally ended with Brock Lesnar basically getting tied up. They basically zip-tied his hands, and you heard Lesnar, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. Which, I pretty much said, don't touch Lesnar. He'll break your arm. He'll Kimura your ass. So, sure enough, it was a damn good segment. This is how you do a build for a big, significant fight, and they actually jumped it out of the gates. I was saying, and I pretty much said it, I'm like, that's it, WWE. I'm like, you got me hook, line, and sinker. I'm going back to the WWE Network. I want my free subscription again. And you know what? If you're not gonna let me get my free subscription, then damn it to hell, take my $9.99 for all I matter. You got me hook, line, and sinker, you idiots. You beautiful bastards. I loved it. This was excellent. This was amazing. Segment of the night. Non-wrestling segment of the year. There's nothing more to say. There's nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours. Take it. Go. It's yours.
Oh, that's why we call you a hype man, Flex. There's no doubt about that. But and I'm glad to hear that you're going back to the network. I'm glad to hear that. You got to have it for SummerSlam. I know you don't want to watch SummerSlam by various means. I know you don't want to do that. So, yeah, that's definitely that's as good a time as any to have the network right there. But nonetheless, everything Michael Fletcher just said is true. And Michael Bullock, and he's gonna agree with me because Bullock and I were lucky enough to be together at this particular moment. I mean, yeah, there was a little part of me that wishes I could have been with Fletch on this one, because you know how Fletch and I Fletch and I do the commentary, and we have these big moments. Fletch and I would have absolutely had a field day with this one had we been together on that. But Bullock and I still had some fun with this one. So, but nonetheless, though, what else is there to say? This was the segment of the night, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the segment of the year. I know you keep saying, make up your mind, what's the segment of the year? Well, as of right now, this is the segment of the year. What happened with the women last week, that was the women's segment of the year. This is the segment of the year. You can't start it off any better than the best promo guy in the business, Paul Heyman, doing what he does best. Cut a damn good promo, once again. When has he ever cut a bad promo? Never. And then all of a sudden, you get Taker out there, bullying Heyman, intimidating him, and all that good stuff. There's Lesnar. Let's talk about how we should go into great detail about, good segments. Well, I'm about to do that. That's why they call me the professor of this show. That's exactly what I'm going to do right here and now. Professor mode time, fellas. A lot of things we took out of this. First off, Brock Lesnar, during this whole thing, during this whole brawl, in the ring and backstage, not once, but twice, Brock Lesnar screamed at the top of his lungs, "I will kill you." Didn't you hear that, fellas? He said, "I will kill you." Yeah, that's going to add networks. That's going to put butts in the seats. That's what's going to put eyes on the screens. That's what's going to sell WWE Network subscriptions. And yes, even those old schoolers who still buy it via traditional pay-per-view, for those who still have it. Yes, that sold some pay-per-view buys and network subscriptions and tickets for any, extra tickets that might be still left, for the Barclays if it hasn't sold out already. But yeah, Lesnar screamed out, "I'm going to kill you," not once but twice. Initially, I thought it was once. I missed the first one. But after they showed a video replay, I heard it. I heard the first one out in the back. Ooh, I missed that one. I definitely remember hearing him do it during the backstage brawl. In the backstage area, he screamed out, "I will kill you." Another standout moment. How about Titus O'Neil? Titus O'Neil during this brawl, as he was, being a part of the guys sorting out the melee. He was out there. He was back there saying, "Get him back! Get him back!" Well done, Titus O'Neil. I loved his intensity. And then, believe it or not, R-Truth even had a standout moment as Brock Lesnar was, being held back by the policemen and the security guards. R-Truth saying, "Calm down now. Calm down now." Yeah, he was trying to sort out the melee, and I thought R-Truth even had a standout moment there. But nonetheless, and also one other standout moment, the broadcast team. Michael Cole, JBL, Byron Saxton. The minute Lesnar showed up, they got out of Dodge. They hightailed it. They ran like scolded dogs, guys.
Yeah, they got the F out of there.
Yeah, they got the F out of there, and they ran like scolded dogs, fellas. That's all there is to it. So goodbye, Cole, JBL, and Byron. They were gone. And that was it. And the fight was on. Greatest brawl ever. That was the best thing that we've seen. This was a 5-star segment. A damn good Heyman promo. The greatest pull-apart brawl you will ever see. In the ring and backstage. You add all those together, that's a recipe for a segment. Not just a segment of the night, but it's also a recipe for a segment of the year. In just 2 short minutes, we're officially going to be 33 days away from SummerSlam. We're less than 5 weeks away. The build to this match is going to be unlike any other. You know what? I'm going to be real honest. Me being the traditional, old-school professional wrestling fan that I am and always will be, and ever since I have been, since I was a little boy, I'm going to be real upfront with you guys. This is one time that I am fine with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship not being the main event. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship is going to get pushed to the back burner. Normally, I'm not a fan of that, to be honest with you. Me being the old school traditional fan that I am, I always preferred the WWE World Heavyweight Championship be the main event regardless. And well, for one, this is one time I am actually going to make an exception. Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar should, and in my opinion, will be the main event of SummerSlam, and rightly so. The way this thing has been built, and after a first build like that, this is just the first build, guys. There's more of this to come. And don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if within the next few weeks we end up getting a contract signing with these two, for God's sake. Think about it. You know they're going to have
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine what that's going to be like.
Right? Come on now.
They just may have to bring out the security and the superstars for this one.
There's no way that you're going to keep those two animals from not trying to tear each other apart unless they put some kind of decree or some kind of ruling that if there's any physical contact, that this fight is off, because that's the only way that that this does not explode.
Yes, and
or you may have to also bring out the 81st Air Force One and the 81st Airborne. 82nd Airborne to try to separate these two if it explodes again.
And that's what I said during our little commentary. I said, well, get the 82nd. Not even the 82nd Airborne on the National Guard is going to be enough. Get the CIA, get the FBI, get the Secret Service. I mean, that was, wow. I don't know what else there is to say, man. I mean, phenomenal work by everyone involved. I mean, Heyman's promo hit the mark. X marks the spot. Taker and Lesnar, best pull-apart brawl you will ever see. Titus O'Neil in that backstage will get him back. Awesome. Great stuff from Titus O'Neil. And then R-Truth, even saying, calm down, Brock. Calm down, man. Take it easy. And then Brock with his don't touch me. And then the zip tie handcuffs there for Lesnar. Yeah. That's how you sell it. That's how you put butts in the seats. That's how you put eyes on the screen. That's how you sell WWE Network subscriptions. Hey, guess what, WWE? You just sold one network subscription, courtesy of one Michael Fletcher. You just got a subscription from him. That's all there is to it. So you already got one. Who knows how many countless others are scrambling to get their $9.99 ready, or for brand new subscribers, you get that freebie. Yeah, that's how you sell it. That's how you sell it. How you sell network subscriptions. It's how you sell traditional pay-per-view buys for anybody out there who still prefers to do that. And it's also how you put the butts in the seats, and it's also how you put the eyes on the screen. So well done, WWE. Well done. You hit this thing out. You hit this thing far. You just hit it out of the ballpark. You hit it so far out of the ballpark, it landed on the damn turnpike. It landed on the I-95, which connects St. Louis to Kansas City. That's all there is to say about that. So, well done. Well done, everyone involved. And you heard it here first. Michael Bullock, I'm going to reiterate what Mr. Bullock just said a little bit ago. This match at SummerSlam, let me tell you something. This thing is going to be far and away better than the match they had at WrestleMania 30. Even though we enjoyed the match, the three of us, we enjoyed the match at WrestleMania 30. Others out there, they didn't really enjoy the match. They thought it was, a slow and boring fight for the most part. We rated it between 3.5 to 4.25 stars, as I recall, on that night. And Lesnar going over was one of the main reasons why we gave WrestleMania 30 a perfect 10, because nobody Nobody saw Taker losing. We sure as hell didn't. None of us did. We all had Taker winning that, then going away. But Lesnar did it, and he was one of the three main reasons why WrestleMania 30 was the perfect 10. You already know what the other two are. The opening segment with Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, and The Rock, and then, of course, Daniel Bryan with what he did. Beating Evolution in a two-match span in one night and walking out with the WWE World Heavyweight title. So, the miracle on Bourbon Street, and that's what capped it all off. So, well done, WWE. You did it. And like we always like to say here on the forum, and also like we also say on Strictly Sports at times as well, 33 nights from now, August the 23rd, Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York, SummerSlam cannot get here fast enough. Michael Bullock, how do you follow that?
I don't know how the heck do you follow that, but man, like you just said, segment of the night, hands down, segment of the year. I mean, I don't care what anybody else says. I mean, this was just freaking awesome. I mean, Paul Heyman cuts a promo talking about, how he keeps reminding us that Brock Lesnar was the one to end the streak, and how he wasn't afraid to brag about ending the streak. I mean, so many other superstars tried to do it, like Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Ric Flair, Edge, Batista, Randy Orton. All of them failed, but Brock did not. And now The Undertaker wants to come back for revenge, and he just decided to go for revenge now. Now at SummerSlam, it's going to be Lesnar and The Undertaker. And then he basically reminds The Undertaker and everybody around the arena that Lesnar broke the streak. And then all of a sudden, Undertaker comes out. He's right behind Paul Heyman. And he's basically like, I'm just an advocate. I'm just an advocate. And then Brock Lesnar's music hit, and he was not sprinting. He was running to the ring. And as soon as that happened, you heard it. Michael Cole, JBL, Byron Saxton, they just got the F out of there because they didn't want to be part of what was going to happen, or should I say, what did happen. They basically just started fighting each other. I mean, the fight was on. The brawl was on. It was chaos out there. And then the COO, Triple H, comes out, tries to break everything up. First, he sends security guards out there to try to break them up. Did that work out? No. And, I mean, they were basically they were still brawling with each other. And then, of course, Triple H gets the entire locker room, the Ascension, Mark Henry, Jack Swagger, Rusev, Cesaro. I could go on and on with all the names. I mean, we even got a Brad Maddox sighting during the breakup of this brawl. I mean, who would have thunk that? I mean, basically everybody was out there to try to separate these two, and Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker somehow kept breaking up from them, and they still try to get at each other's throat. I mean, and I even told Florio this, even the 82nd Airborne in the Army could come out and try to stop this, and maybe that would not even work out either. I mean, and during the whole thing, I mean, Brock Lesnar basically yelled at The Undertaker, saying, I'm gonna kill you. And then The Undertaker, he basically responded saying, you're gonna have to. And they finally get him to the back, and just when it looked like things calmed down, it exploded into mayhem again. I mean, they were continuing the brawl. Triple H was trying to get them to stop. I mean, it wasn't even enough. And then you basically saw Titus O'Neil screaming, back off. And then Lesnar was, well, R-Truth had a nice moment with saying, calm down, man, calm down. And then it takes the policeman. I mean, Triple H finally brings the police out to hold back Lesnar, and he gets zip cuffed. And Anthony Florio forgot to mention this, and I know he'll back me up. It sort of reminded me of when Stone Cold Steve Austin got arrested, and I brought up a line that JR used to say when he said, "Stone Cold is going directly to jail." And I brought it up with him, and here's a line I'm going to steal from JR, but this is the one I came up with. Brock Lesnar is going directly to jail. And, man, I mean, that brawl it reminded me of a whole lot of things. I mean, it brought on, I mean, it was like Diesel and Bret Hart from that In Your House back in 1995 when they brawled at it and the entire locker room came out along with the referees to try to separate them. It also had that feeling of In Your House Ground Zero back in 97 when the locker room came out to separate Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. But those two have nothing in comparison to what we saw tonight between Lesnar and Taker. And I almost wanted to bring out my inner JR during the whole thing. It's like, Taker and Lesnar! Taker and Lesnar! They're going at it! They don't want to wait till SummerSlam! I mean, wow. This was so awesome. Segment of the night. Segment of the year. And I reiterated, I said it earlier, and I'm going to go on the record as saying this again. Taker and Lesnar, it's not only going to be better than what we saw at WrestleMania, but it's going to be in the top 10 for fights of the year. It's not going to be the fight of the year. We already know what that is, John Cena and Kevin Owens, but it's got the potential to be in the top 10. That's my bold statement. So I really got nothing else to say except, Florio, let's just try to move on. I mean, I don't know how we can follow that.
I don't know how we can either, but we're going to have to do our best. Next up, after all that, we got back to the in-ring action after a couple of backstage moments. We had Luke Harper, accompanied by Bray Wyatt, going one-on-one with Roman Reigns. We thought Reigns was going to be going in alone, but all of a sudden, out comes the lunatic prince, Dean Ambrose, to even the odds. But nonetheless, Roman Reigns wins the matchup. He wins it via disqualification, 13 minutes and 15 seconds. And I have to say it's one of the fights of the night. I probably would say second best fight of the night, if I'm being quite honest. I would probably say, it's definitely, as I look at it, you know what? I'm actually going to call this the third best fight of the night. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call this the third best fight of the night here. I'm going to give it a solid 2.5 to 3 stars here between that. Let me see. Okay. Reigns a little inconsistent in selling the arm, but Luke Harper, his offense is so unique for a big man. They filled the time nicely, I felt, and it was a solid match. It was a good match. It's definitely one of my top fights of the night. Not the fight of the night by any means, because we did have another clunky finish, but I felt that this was a necessary one, to be honest with you. And I posted something in our text chat box. I came across a dirt sheet a little bit ago, and this is one that I think really needs to be shared right here and now. I'm going to go into it right about now. I came across a dirt sheet a little bit ago. WWE's original plan for Sting. Now, everybody knows there is something with Sting on the horizon. The original plan for Sting at SummerSlam was for him to team up with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose in a 6-man tag team match against the newly reunited Wyatt family. However, with Eric Rowan being out with an injury, WWE is looking for someone to replace Rowan in that match. And all of this is confirmed by the one and only, the man himself, Mr. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer. He would go on to speculate that WWE. He even went on to speculate that WWE may introduce a new member of the Wyatt family, but that is not confirmed by any means. So, Derek Ferrera always likes to say, take it with a grain of salt, but as I like to say, read into that what you will. But nonetheless, though, I am fully expecting a 6-man tag team match at SummerSlam. Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and some other guy. It's not going to be Eric Rowan because Rowan's going to be out for a while. He does have an injury. I already knew about that. To go up against the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose, the master of the Superman Punch, Roman Reigns, and the icon and the vigilante himself, Sting. What a 6-man that's going to be. Oh, Brooklyn. You're having yourself a big night come August 23rd. Again, if they do indeed get Sting for that fight, again, it's going to put butts in the seats. Again, it's going to put eyes on the screens. Again, it's going to sell network subscriptions, and you can damn sure bet your ass it's also going to sell pay-per-view buys for those who still do it. But nonetheless, though, I'm going to say this was the third best fight of the night from my end. I'm going to rate it between a solid 2.5, at least 2.5. But I'm leaning more towards 2.5. So I'm going to give it a solid 2.5 stars for the effort. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Roman Reigns against Luke Harper and that dirt sheet that I just revealed?
All right, I do agree. This was a 2.5-star match. I mean, the match was this was definitely one of the top fights of the night. Even though we did get that clunky finish with Bray Wyatt interfering, basically pulling Roman Reigns out of the ring, and then you had Dean Ambrose, of course, who was at ringside, basically brawling with Bray Wyatt, and we had some more brawling outside the ring, even though that wasn't compared to what we saw with Lesnar and Taker. But either way, I mean, this was a fine match, but yeah, I mean, that's very interesting with that dirt sheet. I mean for a possible 6-man tag team match with Harper and Wyatt and whoever this could be, the newest member of the Wyatt family, against Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Sting. Whew, man, if that match does happen, I mean, and like Derek would always say, take it with a grain of salt, or as you would say, Florio, read into that, if you will. Boy, that's definitely going to sell some more network subscriptions, and it's definitely going to put some butts in the seats and eyes on the screen. So, yeah, really got nothing else to say except 2.5 stars. Fletcher, I give it to you.
I am in agreement with you guys. 2.5 stars is my rating for the fight as well. It was a good, solid match, and I can't wait. I like where this is going. Hopefully that, maybe it is the new reincarnated, brand new version of the Wyatt family against maybe a modified version of the Shield with Sting along. Sting has always been a vigilante and an icon. Remember, he was a part of one of the most iconic groups in wrestling history, the NWO Wolfpack. So it'd be a nice little twist to two of the great staples in WWE's history, the Wyatt family and the Shield. So I think it'd be really interesting to watch. So we'll see what happens then. And Anthony, let's move on.
All right. Let me get back to my notes here. Okay. Next up, we had an in-ring segment. It was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, interrupted by the United States Heavyweight Champion John Cena. Oh my, oh my, oh my. I believe Michael Bullock gets to lead off on this segment. So, Mr. Bullock, your thoughts on this segment with Seth Rollins and John Cena?
Yeah, I thought this was a good segment here. I mean, this was, I'll say it, this was my third best segment of the night. I'll tell you what, if it weren't for the Undertaker segment at the beginning of the show and that all-out brawl, who knows? This could have definitely been the segment of the night. But this is only good. But it was a good segment. But it was only the third best segment of the night, and basically Seth Rollins bragging about how he's still the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and that even after the beating he took at the hands of Brock Lesnar, and basically he wanted Lillian Garcia to come into the ring and make the announcement, and then all of a sudden John Cena basically comes out and says, you know what? No one wants to put up with your crap any longer with all your bragging and all that, saying, and Rollins basically says, you know what? I don't know why you're out here, Cena, and I have nothing to do with you. But he says, you know what? Congratulations on doing a fine job as U.S. champion. And Rollins basically tries to get out, but Cena basically is here to thank him. He said, you know, we became champions on the same night. Of course, basically, John Cena becoming the U.S. champion at WrestleMania, the same night where Seth Rollins cashed in and won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But everyone knows that John Cena's championship reign means excellence, and that he basically thanks Rollins for being such a slimy, weasel-faced, suck-up, sellout, poor excuse for a champion, and that actions speak louder than words, and Rollins makes people lose faith in the WWE World Heavyweight title and gain respect for the United States Championship. And Rollins basically mocks Cena's reign as champion and saying people have to earn a shot at his title. That your United States Open Challenge is about your ego, and he can't stand that the people hate him. Rollins basically then says afterwards, keep doing this thing and he'll keep being the world champion. And then Cena basically says, you know what? Keep running like you always do. It's the man that makes the title, and that you're a joke, Seth Rollins. And he basically challenges Rollins to man up, and looked like they were going to go in, but Rollins basically, well, let's just say he decides to bail out, and that the champ, and John Cena says that the champ is here. So very interesting segment, and who knows, could we be looking at, I think we could be looking at a John Cena Seth Rollins match at SummerSlam where the WWE World Heavyweight Championship is on the line. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Like I said, once again, like Derek would say, take it with a grain of salt. So, third best segment of the night. So, Fletcher, I give it to you.
Oh boy, the John Cena haters are not gonna like what you just said, Michael Bullock. Cena possibly getting another shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And think about this, guys. If he does get the shot and wins it, that means that's 16 times he would actually tie the record of the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And Lord help us all if that happens. I think it is inevitable that Cena will be facing Seth Rollins next. I don't know how this will play out. I think what they need to do first is some way, somehow have Cena lose the United States Heavyweight Championship. I think that should be the first major priority before we start worrying about Cena getting trying to go after the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But the one thing that even Derek Ferrera alluded to, that he thinks that John Cena might do something that Jay Lethal did in Ring of Honor. And I don't know if you guys got to see the Destination America this past week, but they actually showed the fight when Jay Lethal unified the television championship and the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title. He has possession of the two single titles in the company. The secondary belt, which is the ROH television title, and their version of the World Heavyweight title, the ROH Heavyweight Championship. He has possession of both titles. and now WWE might be on the verge of doing that with John Cena, having John Cena with the United States Heavyweight Championship and the WWE World Heavyweight title. Now, remember, guys, there has been instances where a champion has had two belts at the same time. There's been a number of incidences in that situation, but mainly a lot of the times they were more in the way of a tag team championship to a world title. And I think the one time that I can think of that they had a world where somebody had the big belt and the other was I believe it was Ultimate Warrior. Warrior at one time had both the Intercontinental and the WWF title after he won the Ultimate Challenge. Then Warrior had to relinquish the IC title because you can't have both belts at the same time. Um, I even remember I think it was Kurt Angle at one time had possession of the European and he also had possession of the Intercontinental title going into WrestleMania 16 or WrestleMania 2000, and oddly enough, in one night he lost both belts. He lost one belt to Chris Benoit, lost the other belt to Chris Jericho in a triple threat match, and oddly enough, Kurt Angle was never pinned in that situation when he lost both belts. So we could say something like that. And then I know there's been times where I even believe Benoit was, I believe, a tag team champion and a world champion. So, I mean, there has been instances in professional wrestling where a person can have both belts at the same time. Bill Goldberg did it. Booker T was the last man, at least in the WCW era, to have both belts where he actually got to unify the United States and the WCW World Heavyweight titles. So, I mean, could it happen again? We'll have to wait and see, but I will tell you this, if Cena does do it, look out, it will be a riot. And trust me, if you thought the Cena haters were angry to hear that just for him to be in that segment with Seth Rollins, just imagine what they'll be like if Cena actually fights Rollins and wins the belt. Florio, it's yours.
Well, I thought I was the professor of this show. Apparently, Michael Fletcher wants to be the associate professor of this show. Man, good stuff there, Fletch. I gotta tell you, even I was taken aback by that. But yes. But before I drop some more professor knowledge and reiterate what Fletch just said about certain men who have held multiple championships at the same time. Yes, I do agree. Even though this segment was fantastic, to be honest with you, I thought both men came off really good. Rollins, being that smarky, chicken bleak heel champion that he's been since WrestleMania. And then, of course, John Cena doing another one of his damn good promos and everything else. I mean, that was a fantastic exchange by both men. And as great as it was, we don't have a choice but to give it the third best segment of the night, only because, we had The Undertaker showing up and doing his promo at the start of the show. And then, of course, the segment of the year with the Heyman promo and then the Brawl, which we'll have more on when we do our overall review. But nonetheless, it looks like we are on a collision course. It looks like we could be getting a Seth Rollins, John Cena WWE World Heavyweight Championship match at SummerSlam. I mean, Derek Ferrer was the one who, came up with this possibility in one of his recent sports blogs. He did mention that he was thinking Cena was going to be, put back into that main event spot, back into the world title picture. Doesn't really make sense for him to still hold the U.S. title, like I said. I mean, I still think they should have put it on Owens, to be honest with you. But who knows? Maybe they could be saving that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But for right now, guys, Fletch talks about men who have held more than one championship, and of course, It is well documented about Jay Lethal. I mean, Jay Lethal, like, here's a guy who, you know, was one of those heart and soul, middle of the road guys in TNA, where he was a multi-time X Division champion, and his biggest claim to fame was when he beat Kurt Angle in TNA, which was which is the major accomplishment for anybody, given Kurt Angle's outstanding body of work. Like, he's one of my all-time favorite guys in the business, and yes, as far as World Wrestling Entertainment is concerned, as far as guys who have held multiple championships, Kurt Angle did in fact do that. You remember in TNA, back in the summer of 2007, he had that that big feud, that blood type feud with Samoa Joe, and the whole kit and caboodle was on the line. They had all these championship belts on the line, and it was Kurt Angle who won all those belts. The world titles, the Next Division titles, and tag team titles, and New Japan titles, and everything else. I mean, that was one of the most iconic moments in TNA. That's all I can say. But as far as WWE is concerned, Fletch is absolutely right. I mean, the first such man to do this, the Ultimate Warrior, the late great Ultimate Warrior. WrestleMania 6, the Ultimate Challenge. That's how my and Michael Fletcher's friendship even started in the first place. We were on the old school bus together. I wore the WrestleMania 6 Ultimate Challenge hat to school that day, and that's basically how it all started right there. And the rest is history. So, yes, and it always brings back memories when Flex brings that up. I mean, the Ultimate Challenge, the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, everybody knows that was a damn near 5-star classic, if not a 5-star classic. I mean, that thing was just, wow. That thing lived up to the hype and then some. We're talking about Shakespearean drama. That fight had a damn ton of it. And those fans who attended the Skydome on that April Fool's Day in 1990, yeah, they got their money. The 67,678 of them that were in Toronto, yeah, they got their money's worth, as well as everybody around the world that watched on pay-per-view. So, yes, Ultimate Warrior was the first to do that, because he was the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion going into that match. Hulk Hogan, of course, was, the World Wrestling Federation Champion. And the Ultimate Warrior, of course, won that match and unified those titles. And, of course, he had to relinquish the Intercontinental belt because he couldn't hold both belts at the same time, like Flex said. IC belt was put up in the tournament, a single elimination tournament, which another late great and another one of my all-time favorites, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. He was the one who won that tournament and captured the Intercontinental title. So, a little backstory there. But, yes, the Ultimate Warrior was the first to do it. It would be several years before we would see it again, and yes, it was Kurt Angle, back when he was the Euro-Continental Champion. Oh, I remember. He would call himself the Euro-Continental Champion because he won the European title, I believe, at a SmackDown taping, and then at the No Way Out in 2000 in Hartford, he took the Intercontinental title off of Chris Jericho, and then, of course, that two-fall triple threat match at WrestleMania 16, one of the few bright spots of that event. I know a lot of people and their mother, pissed all over that event. They felt it was a colossal disappointment, but there were some bright spots during that event, and that match was one of them. Of course, that was not the fight of the night. Everybody knows the fight of the night that night was the infamous Triangle Ladder match with the Hardys, Edge, and Christian Dudley. Damn near 5-star classic on that. But that match was a solid 3.5 stars, that triple threat match. Chris Benoit won the Intercontinental title in the first fall, and then Chris Jericho captured the European title in the second fall. So that was it. And then, of course, but Fletch, you're forgetting one. And I'm surprised you forgot all about this. What about your boy, Triple H, 2002? Remember, he was awarded the World Heavyweight title by Eric Bischoff, Labor Day, Milwaukee, and then he had that match against Kane at the No Mercy in Little Rock, Arkansas, where the winner would unify both the World Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships. Triple H won that match and unified the World Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships. So technically, Triple H can say, I held the World Heavyweight Championship, although it was the big gold belt, and the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. IC belt would disappear for about 7 or 8 months before they brought it back late spring 2003, thanks to Stone Cold Steve Austin, the co-general manager angle there, Bischoff, May of 2003, Judgment Day. They brought back the IC belt with Christian. They had that big battle royal, and at the old Charlotte Coliseum, Christian won that. And yes, Chris Benoit, Fletch, you made a great point. He was a world heavyweight and co-holder of the World Tag Team Championship, of course, with the Rated R Superstar Edge. That was in the spring of 2004. They did that on the Monday Night Raw, taking the belt off of Ric Flair and Batista, and which was a very good match as well. I think that was at the Saddledome in Calgary, as I recall. Yes, that was at the Calgary Saddledome. Yes, and it was a great moment. Two proud Canadians, Chris Benoit and Edge, winning the World Tag Team titles, and Chris Benoit at the same time was the World Heavyweight Champion after he won that title in that epic 5-star main event against Triple H and Shawn Michaels, Madison Square Garden, WrestleMania 20. We'll never forget that. One of the 5 greatest, and to me, in my top 5, as far as greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. I know you guys agree with me on that. And yeah, it's been a very long time since we've seen a guy, hold, more than one championship at the same time. And could we see that at SummerSlam? Could we see a unification type fight with the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins going up against the United States Heavyweight Champion John Cena, in which both belts are on the line perhaps? There's a very realistic possibility that could happen. But let's not count our chickens before they hatch now, guys. There's still a ways to go. You never know. Cena could do a U.S. Open challenge, and you never know. During one of those open challenges, Cena could get caught on an off night, and Cena could drop the belt on free television. Think about it. There's a realistic chance that could happen. So let's process. Let's take some time and cool down and process all this information. Not just all those reigns I just mentioned, but also what the possibility is. And if it does happen, there is a realistic possibility John Cena could walk out of SummerSlam one more time, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And if he does it, he ties, the Nature Boy Ric Flair for the most recognized world title wins. It would be his 16th. And yes, the IWC will be in full-on riot mode. And you better believe the fans in Brooklyn will be in full-on riot mode, a la the old school ECW. If, in fact, John Cena does face Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, and if indeed John Cena captures the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So, a lot to think about here, guys. So, all right. With that said, we're just going to move on to our next matchup here. Well, I said it once, and I'm going to say it again. Are you ready for another round of Hot Divas action, fellas? Because we got it right here and now. Second Divas Fight of the Night, Diva Tag Team match. It was Paige and Becky Lynch, accompanied by Charlotte Flair, going up against the NXT Women's Champion, the Boss, Sasha Banks, and Naomi, accompanied by Tamina Snuka. The winners of the match in 13, and get this, guys, 13 minutes and 35 seconds, Sasha Banks and Naomi. Sasha Banks and Naomi get the fall. And I believe, who leads off on this one, Flex, or is it me? You guys know?
It's you. You lead off because I just started
No, you do, Fletch, because I let off on the Rollins segment.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, right. That's right. Yes, me. I'm sorry. Actually, corrected. Yeah. I didn't. I actually thought that. Oh, okay. My fault. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm actually again still not in my regular studio in East Providence. I'm in a different location this time around, so I'm still trying to adjust. But no, you know what? I'll say it like this: great fight, great match. I think we could even say this was kind of better than the first fight earlier in the night, and we said that the first fight was about 2.25 stars. This one, I could probably honestly say maybe 2.5, 2 3/4, maybe on the verge of 3. So, I mean, definitely great match, no doubt about it. I love the body of work, and everybody worked so good. Naomi worked good in this fight. So did Paige as usual. But what a way to get your feet wet in this situation, uh, for especially for um, Becky Lynch, the fiery redhead from Ireland, getting her first real opportunity in WWE, and she did a pretty good job. But boys, now you know why I I have the love affair with Boston's own the Boss, Sasha Banks, the reigning defending NXT Women's Champion of the World. She just proved it here tonight why she's a bright young talent in WWE. And let me tell you, man, that paycheck maneuver, backstabber into a crossface finisher, it is a devastating move. You saw it, and unfortunately, Paige ended up paying the price for it. And she had the Paige tap out going. It looked like she was gonna get it on Naomi. Nice little drop kick. It leads to a great pin. Then the backstabber gets connected, and the next thing you know, submission locked in, tap out victory for uh, for Sasha Banks and for Naomi, and for Team Bad. They get a big victory in their right. So it was a 50-50 night, good night for Paige's team with Charlotte getting the victory. Now the NXT Divas Champion, or the NXT Women's Champion, uh, Sasha Banks gets her dupe here tonight. It's only a matter of time before Becky Lynch gets a victory, very near future, no doubt about it. But definitely another great fight. 2.5 to 2 3/4. You could even make an argument for 3 stars on this one. So Anthony, it's yours.
I'm actually gonna put the trigger on this one. I'm actually gonna give it 3 stars, and I'm gonna call this the second best fight of the night. I mean, this was a fantastic Divas tag team match. Everybody came up looking really good. I mean, we already know how established Paige and Naomi are. I mean, Naomi, like Charlotte Flair, athletically gifted. You already know how athletically gifted I think Naomi is. A future Diva champion in the making. I have no doubts about that whatsoever. And then Paige, we already know her body of work. I mean, she started a little slow, but over these last few months, I mean, she's definitely, proved she's definitely shown us why she was the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion of all time. No doubt about that. But the new girls, the NXT ladies, the NXT mainstays, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, definitely, they showed you why. They had the overall women's wrestling match of the year at the last NXT live event, which was a damn near 5-star classic. I mean, that thing is just absolutely incredible. If you haven't seen it already, what are you doing? Get on the network and go out of your way and watch that match, because that match was a masterclass when it comes to women's wrestling. Best thing I've seen in years. Best thing I've seen since the Trish and Lita days, in all honesty. But nonetheless, what a fantastic tag team match was it. 13 minutes and 35 seconds, guys. That's the time of the match. You would think that was probably one of the men's fights, as always, but no. I said 13 minutes and 35 seconds for a Divas. What? This thing is catching on. This thing is catching on like wildfire, and that's a good thing. It's a very good thing. I said it before. I said it earlier on the show. I'm gonna reiterate it. The days of slowly but surely, the days of ho-hum diva fights are slowly disappearing. I mean, we haven't had a ho-hum diva fight in quite a while now. We said it last week. We made the decree here on this show. After that segment of the year type segment they had, which is, well, for the women anyways, the segment of the year on the women's side, far and away, we said no more ho-hum diva fights. And if there ever was a ho-hum diva fight ever again during this movement, the gloves would come off, and yeah, that would be the end of it. We would be a bunch of angry, pissed off guys. But no need for that yet, because this Divas fight tonight was, well, you thought the first one with Charlotte and Brie Bella was good. This one was even better. Solid 3 stars one more time. And I could call this, when it comes to TV, the TV women's match of the year on television. This was absolutely fantastic. Well done. Great effort by all 4 women involved. They all looked great, but to me, I think Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks were definitely the stars in this match. And yeah, Sasha Banks with her bank statement, getting the victory. That's the reason why she is the NXT Women's Champion, and will be for a foreseeable future. I think she will eventually lose that title, and I think that's probably going to happen next month at the next NXT special, the big show, which will be the night before SummerSlam, which will be at the Barclays in Brooklyn. She's going to lose it to somebody. Initially, my first thought was Becky Lynch, but since now she's on the main roster now, I think it's going to be Bayley. I think Bayley's going to be the one who's going to dethrone Sasha Banks as the NXT Women's Champion. Because I know Bayley's out with a hand injury, but I think Bayley's probably going to be back in time. And I think Bayley's going to be the one to dethrone Sasha as the Women's Champion in NXT. So, with that said, I'm pulling the trigger here. Solid 3 stars. Damn good diva fight. These diva matches, these women's matches over the last, and what a great 24 hours. I mean, we had that damn good match last night, that triple threat with Charlotte and Sasha Banks, and Brie Bella, and then Sasha and Naomi going up against Paige and Becky Lynch. It's continuing, guys. And quite frankly, I'm going to sum it all up, and I'm going to do this. And I know Fletch will like I know Fletch is going to like where I'm going to go with this. I've had this moment with him quite a few times. I'm going to channel my inner Tim McGraw right now. I like it, I love it, and I damn sure want more of it. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Thank you, Anthony Florio. You just made my day referencing to a Tim McGraw song. I mean, because he's one of my favorite country music singers and one of the songs I like. So, yeah, wanted to commend you on that. But, yeah, this was a solid 3-star match. And, yeah, once again, this Divas Revolution is continuing to get better and better. And, like you said, what a 24 hours. I mean, yeah, that awesome triple threat match last night at Battleground, and now you get 2 really good matches here tonight. Man, I mean, all I can say is this Diva Revolution is in full gear. So you guys pretty much touched on everything. So with that being said, Wario, it's main event time.
Okay, let me check my notes here. Yep. You are in fact correct, Michael Bullock. It is main event time indeed. 6-man tag team action. United States Heavyweight Champion John Cena, Cesaro, and Randy Orton going up against Kevin Owens, Rusev, accompanied by Summer Rae, and the Celtic Warrior and Mr. Money in the Bank, Sheamus. The winners of the match in an even 15 minutes, John Cena, Randy Orton, and Cesaro. And I will be leading off on this one. Fight of the night, even though it's not an emphatic fight of the night. I'm just going to give it a straight-up 3.25 stars, teetering on 3.5, but I'm leaning more towards 3.25 for this particular main event. And by a slim margin, I'm going to call it the fight of the night because there was some very good action throughout, and some surprising drama. And all I can say is, well, so much for my bold statement. You're saying, what bold statement, Florio? Michael Bullock knows what I'm talking about. When they do this thing on the Raw pre-show on the WWE Network, they have the panel, do bold predictions. And I told Michael Bullock, you know what? I'm going to give you a bold prediction right now. I said that the Kevin Owens team was not only going to win the match, but Kevin Owens was going to get the fall on John Cena. Yeah, so much for that happening. Not only does the Cena team win the match, but the Owens team imploded right before our very eyes. A moment of miscommunication with Kevin Owens and Sheamus led to a shoving match between Owens and Sheamus. They got into each other's face, and Sheamus give me my briefcase. I'm done. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. Sheamus walks out, and then moments later, Kevin Owens ruffles Rusev's feathers and called him an idiot, slapped him in the face and said, "Get your ass in here," because Rusev wanted to get tagged. And he's like, "Oh, you're ready to come in now?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Get in here." And he's like, "Get your ass in here, you idiot." And then Rusev was like, "Really?" And then Rusev, he takes his ball and he goes home, leaving Kevin Owens all alone. Well, no, I should say Kevin Owens walks out and leaves Rusev and feeds Rusev to the Wolves. Rusev gets fed to the Wolves, and how does it end up? He gets everything, and he takes all the finishers, and he saved the best for last for Michael Fletcher. And RKO, not really out of nowhere. You knew it was coming. And the home state man, the Missouri man, Randy Orton, scores the winning pinfall for his team. Yep, there it is. Michael Fletcher in full-on Randy Orton mode. He's doing the vintage Randy Orton middle rope pose that we see him do on the middle rope, whenever he comes out for a match. Vintage Randy Orton on that. So yes, fight of the night indeed. Even though, like I said, I'm not saying, wow, that was the fight of the night. We said that last night when John Cena and Kevin Owens had another 5-star classic for the third consecutive match, third consecutive month. We get a 5-star with those two. This right here, it's not as emphatic, but it's more of those by default things. By a slim margin, it's the fight of the night. You can make an argument for the women's match to be the fight of the night, but for me, it's this by a slim margin. 3.25 stars. I'm going to give it for a rating here. And let the speculation begin. I mean, there's so many things that can come out of this, but I don't really want to speculate on that right now because we'd be here all night if we do just that. So with that said, I'm just going to throw it up to Michael Bullock. Your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, this was by default the fight of the night, but like you said, it wasn't one of those. Wow, that was a damn good fight of the night. But I mean, it was still good for what it was. 3.25 stars. I do agree on the rating on that. I mean, this was. I mean, talk about some craziness with what happened during the match with first Sheamus and Kevin Owens getting into a shoving match, and then of course Sheamus taking his briefcase and saying, "You know what? I'm taking my ball and going home." And then Kevin Owens basically does the same thing and leaves Rusev hanging behind and gets a combination of a attitude adjustment and then a Cesaro swing, and then of course the RKO from Randy Orton. So yeah, 3.25 stars by default, the fight of the night. So Fletcher, I give it to you.
I'm only going to give it 3 stars, but yes, it will get the fight of the night award. Yeah, it was by default because of the fact that it was a good match, to say the very least. Good, solid, quality fight to end Monday Night Raw. But there's really nothing more to say about it. You guys pretty much summed it up, so it's time for the overall reviews. Let's go, guys.
Michael Bullock, should I just throw it to Michael Fletcher, or do you want it?
I'll actually take it.
Oh, good. Your overall thoughts on tonight's Monday Night Raw?
All right. All I can say is, man, this was a damn good edition of Monday Night Raw. I mean, many people were wondering, was this going to be a back-to-reality edition of Monday Night Raw? But nope, it wasn't that. And I'm going to give you my rating. This was a 9 out of 10 when it comes to this edition of Monday Night Raw. Of course, my highlights of the night are, of course, the 3 segments. Of course, the third best segment of the night being Seth Rollins and John Cena. The second best segment of the night being The Undertaker, of course, the Undertaker segment, of course, the segment of the night, and of course, segment of the year with Paul Heyman, and then of course the brawl between Brock Lesnar and the Undertaker. You had some. I mean, you also had some good match. I mean, 2 good Divas matches with Brie Bella against Charlotte and and Paige and Becky Lynch against Naomi and Sasha Banks. You also had yeah, of course, you also had a good match with Luke Harper and Roman Reigns. Um, and of course, you also had an alright main event with that six-man tag team match with John Cena, Cesaro, and Randy Orton against Rusev, Kevin Owens, and Sheamus. My only little lights of the night, to me, is the tag team match, and of course the worst fight of the night being the Miz and Big Show. So yeah, the build to SummerSlam is off to a good start with a bang. Of course, with the matchup between Undertaker and Brock Lesnar officially set for SummerSlam, and yeah, let the road to SummerSlam continue. So 9 out of 10 is my rating. A damn good edition of Monday Night Raw. Fletcher, I give it to you.
I can only go. I'm gonna slightly amend it, but Michael Bullock, you are literally dead on with this one. But I can give it between 8.5 to 9 out of 10. But you absolutely nailed it on almost every single account. You basically nailed it. Um, this was an amazing Monday Night Raw, no doubt about it. One of the best Raws. I could even say probably one of the best Raws of the year we've seen here tonight, guys. And this was a tremendous show, no doubt about it. I got nothing bad to say. Mike Bullock pretty much summed up all the highlights and the lowlights of tonight's show. 8.5 to 9 out of 10 is my rating. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, I'm going to make it unanimous here. It is going to be between 8.5 to 9 out of 10 for this edition of Monday Night Raw tonight. Without a doubt, I agree. I mean, wow. Of course, the highlight of the night. What else is there to say? The greatest brawl you will ever see, the most chaotic scene in history, with the Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. You know, preceded by that great promo by Paul Heyman. What else is new there? That was far and away the segment of the night. Number 2 segment of the night, obviously, being the appearance by The Undertaker, the promo he had at the start of the show, and then, of course, that great segment with Seth Rollins and John Cena. We're definitely on the verge of a Rollins and Cena world title match at SummerSlam. You have to imagine, based on that. And then, as far as in-ring goes, the 6-man main event, by Slim was the fight of the night. 3 to 3.25 stars for that one. And then solid 3 stars for the second best fight of the night, which was the Diva Tag match, Sasha Banks and Naomi against Paige and Becky Lynch. Third best fight of the night, rounding out the top 3, was the match with Roman Reigns and Luke Harper, which was a solid 2.5 stars on that account. And then fourth best fight of the night, the other Diva fight with Charlotte and Brie Bella, 2 to 2.25 stars there. And those 4 matches, along with those 3 great segments, especially the Taker and Lesnar segment, the one with the brawl and everything else, the brawl in the ring and backstage. That's one of the main reasons why we're rating this show as high as we are tonight, 8.5 to 9 out of 10. That's amazing. Only 2 real lowlights. You had that the tag team match with the Primetime Players against Los Matadores. 1 to 1.5 stars. That was the second worst fight of the night. And then, of course, the lowlight of the night, without a doubt, the worst fight of the night, that absolute dud match with the Big Show and the Miz, which lasted nearly about 90 seconds. So, yeah. But thankfully, they kept that thing short and sweet, though. That's all there is to it. It didn't overstay its welcome. So, 8.5 to 9 out of 10. And gentlemen, what else is there to say except let the road to SummerSlam begin? And right now, it looks like I'm going to channel our sentiments from 17 years ago. SummerSlam 98. I know it may not be the tagline, but in our opinion, it is the tagline. Gentlemen, we're on the highway to hell. And it's going to culminate when The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar step into the ring at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, 33 nights from now. So, wow. That's all there is to say about it. 8.5 to 9 out of 10 for this edition of Monday Night Raw tonight. Absolutely spot on. So yeah, that's definitely going to put the bow on this edition of the Wrestling Forum. We definitely want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Of course, you know how we do it when it comes to shout-outs. Michael Bullock's going to start it off, then he'll give it to Fletch, and then give it to me, and I'll wrap everything up with the future content and everything else. So, Michael Bullock, let's get your shout-outs real quick.
Yes, of course. We want to thank everybody for tuning in for another edition of the Wrestling Forum on what was a really good edition of Monday Night Raw tonight. Of course, shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this or the rest or Strictly Sports. It doesn't matter. We really appreciate it. And of course, shout outs to our super fans, Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, Matt Ward, and Jason Hicksonball. And of course, shout outs to our friends from our high school days, Al Bredesen, Jimmy Alden, Rob Parsons, Eric Carrier, Tom Souza, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Megan Silva, the First Lady of Strictly Sports, Kaiser Butler, and of course, shout out to the Grand Poobah himself, Derek Ferreira. Of course, still on his leave of absence because of his commitments on Sports Blog, and I really hope we do get to see him back at some point. And of course, one more shout out before I toss it up to Fletch. I know this birthday was yesterday or on a Sunday. A happy birthday to my mom. Of course, I love her. Of course, I just want to say I love you, Mom, and thank you for making me who I am today, and for having this great family. Of course, with my dad and of course my sister, and we had a great time yesterday. Of course, we had a little mini cookout. Of course, with my aunt and my uncle and their two grandchildren coming over to our house and had a mini cookout. We got to swim in the pool, and it was just a fun day. So happy birthday, Mom. I'm glad you enjoyed your day. So yeah, so that's pretty much going to do it for me. I'll save the rest of my shout-outs Friday night on Strictly Sports. So until then, this is the Phenom and the Vice President of the Rhode Island chapter of the Yes Movement, Mike Bullock, saying thank you all so much for listening to us. And of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, and enjoy the rest of your week. And of course, God bless and be good to each other. For now, Mike Bullock. So long. Fletcher, it's yours.
Yes, indeed. I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there for watching the Wrestling Forum tonight. I hope you guys loved the show. We loved doing it. I mean, this. Normally, when there's always a bad Monday Night Raw, sometimes it's so hard to try to enjoy doing a show like this. Tonight, we had a lot of fun doing it because there was a lot of great moments, and I hope it resonated for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Especially at this late of the hour in the East Coast. It's like past 1 a.m. So with that said, my shout outs, I always make it short, sweet, and straight to the point. To all my friends, to all the super fans out there, I want to say a real special thank you to Kaiser Butler, to Megan Silva, and to Alex Zapato. Basically, they've been very close to me this week. I've had a little bit of a family emergency that's been happening here. I'd rather not go into full details about it. I'm probably going to tell Anthony and Mike Bullock what's going down privately, just briefly. And the reason why I've been on location instead of being in my normal studio in East Providence in my normal home. But with that said, I also want to say a special shout out and much love to my friends in the junior high and high school days. Love you guys. To the 2184 crew. I appreciate that. I always appreciate you guys each and every day. And that's basically it for me. So with that said, the routine. It's Mike Fletcher, Hug the Hand Pounds. I'm out. Good night. Anthony, take it home.
Yeah, we'll do, Michael Fletcher. And we definitely will have to, you'll definitely have to tell us about what's going on with you, behind the scenes, and that's more than okay. No need to air any public, that. So, all right. Of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports as ridiculously over as they are. And oh, by the way, folks, the July 10th edition of Strictly Sports, the one where we came back from that 1 week hiatus due to the 4th of July holiday, on my channel, almost 70 views. I mean, unreal. That's made. I definitely appreciate that. Nearly 50 views for the Battleground preview show I did with Michael Bullock the other night, and our the Money in the Bank preview show that I did with Michael Bullock, over 100 views. I mean, just incredible. So I definitely appreciate all of the love and support that you all have been showing me here on my channel, the Tone 25. And don't worry, there's plenty more where this came from. Trust me on that. So I definitely thank you all so very much for your continuous love and support. You are the best fans in the world. That's all there is to say about it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this show. And of course, special shout out to all of our super fans out there, Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the entire Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonball, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, all our friends from our high school days, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Braderson, Rob Parsons, along with our respective First Ladies, Megan Silva and Kaiser Butler, and last but not least, our Imperial Grand Poobah himself, the hardcore python, Derek Ferreira. We miss you here, man. We really want you back here soon. I know you got the sports blog thing. I know the sports blog's been really taking off. It's been, coming on strong very lately, and including that national post from last week, talking about, Sasha Banks and Charlotte and Becky Lynch being at the Raw last week in Atlanta. Congratulate you on that, and we wish you continued success. Even though the three of us are having a lot of fun here, it's still not the same without Derek Ferrer, because he is the one who started this whole thing. So this is his brainchild, and like I said, until he's ready to come back, I'm happy to do what I can to help out. So Derek, we're thinking of you. We're hoping you're back here soon, and we hope you'll be back in time. Maybe for SummerSlam, and of course our big shows in the fall. Coming up in a couple months' time. I mean, we're just a few short weeks away, guys, from the return of Strictly Sports College Football Friday and NFL Saturday. So yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to within the next several weeks. So keep your eyes tuned for that. Unfortunately, at this time, Derek Ferrer has not released the docket for this Friday night's edition of Strictly Sports. However, keep your eyes peeled to either Derek's personal Facebook page or the Strictly Sports Facebook page for any docket information. And as soon as we have it, we'll post it. We'll share it for you all, and we'll let you know what happens come Friday night. So as of now, Friday night at 10:30, Strictly Sports. The only thing that we do know is there will be a Major League Baseball power rankings. That we know. I don't know what else there is. See what Derek Ferreira has in store. So that's it. So I'll save the rest of my shout-outs for Friday night. So until Friday night for Strictly Sports, it's ridiculously over Anthony Florio, for the Cerebral Viper Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Hardcore Python Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. And until Friday night for Strictly Sports, you've been watching the Wrestling Forum right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. And for now, Anthony Florio.